Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh.
You go.
Welcome back to Shooting the Shit with me, Ollie.
And me, Rich.
Let's
shoot some
that shit.
Sweet. It's quite cool. Like we've, last time we ended the show, we were like, we don't know when we're going to do it again.
And then look, we're back.
We're doing it again. That's sort of the concept of
a podcast.
Yeah. Anyway, so something I just saw before we did this episode was basically an article by someone off the Daily Mail,
right?
A columnist, and basically she was talking about the Great British Bake Off and about how boring it is at the moment, and came up with some pretty outlandish comments. Her name's
well, that isn't one of them. I don't personally understand the appeal of watching people baking.
I like to eat food. I don't really want to watch people baking it because it just makes me more hungry.
Well, I mean, I do occasionally watch cookery programs, but the idea of just one where it's
baking,
it's just cake.
Yeah.
All day, every day, cake.
She did say something about the whole tried and tested puns and stuff being a bit like, which I do agree with. Like, well, you do watching it, it's sort of like a bit of tongue in cheek.
TV, isn't it?
Yeah. Pushing the boundaries. But anyway, so her name is Amanda Platel.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. And basically, she came out with the comments, now we're down to the final three. It's certainly a PC triumph. We are left with Muslim mum Nadia Hussain and a gay doctor, and also referred to the other person as a Newman or Newman, which I'm still confused as to what that means.
What is that? I've not heard of that before.
I typed into Google what a Newman is, and it's someone who basically, it's
You don't know.
I don't know.
Absorb any of that.
I didn't absorb any of that information because I just didn't understand it whatsoever. I can type it into Google again and see what it says. A Newman.
Welcome to Google Adventures with Ollie and Rich.
Yeah. Alright, so a Newman is a utopian concept that involves the creation of a new ideal human being or citizen, replacing unideal human beings or citizens. That's what Wikipedia tells me.
Okay.
And it's a utopian concept.
Right, fair enough.
But that's despite the point. The point I was trying to make was outlandish comments talking about the fact that, these individuals are only in there due to the fact that they're, reflecting, I suppose, minorities in our societies.
That's a really weird thing to sort of... I mean, firstly, that she noticed, that's the first thing she immediately thinks is Muslim, gay, Newman, whatever that is.
What the fuck that is, yeah.
And to sort of, I don't know.
Is this like common for the Daily Mail? I don't really read much in the Daily Mail. Like I've heard people like upset with people who actually read that paper.
Well, it's sort of very slightly hysterical, slightly well, not slightly right-wing newspaper.
Okay.
With a bit of craziness thrown in. It's sort of like things about horoscopes and just sensationalizing sort of science and stuff. And just a lot of bollocks.
Okay.
Also, a lot of people don't like it because sort of when it was founded, the founder or the editor, whatever, was sort of encouraging people to join basically the British Nazi Party.
Really?
Yeah, they say some inflammatory things.
One of my mates actually was talking about George. This is a total segue from what the point I was trying to make is, but George Bush's grandfather, apparently he invested in the Nazis.
Oh, loads of companies, mainly American, did.
Yeah, that was silly, wasn't it?
Well, Hugo Boss, they designed the SS uniforms.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that's how they got started.
Cool. And people seem to forget all that shit. We're into this whole...
And they also started the Nazis, they started Volkswagen, which has been having a lot of trouble in the news recently with regards to emissions.
Yep.
So...
Sweet.
There's a joke in there, I'm sure, about gassing people and emissions, etc. But
yeah, I don't think you should say it.
Well, I don't need to now.
You've mentioned
I've
it.
Put the structure out there, people can assemble it in their head.
Sweet.
In the way that most amuses them.
Do you not think that the woman, the columnist's opinion was slightly racist in a way?
Well, she didn't pick out anyone because of necessarily their race.
Yeah, but finding issue with the fact that individuals in a competition. You know,
it's kind of weird that immediately you notice that.
They're all human,
and it's a problem.
Like, they were clearly the better people. But she also came out with a comment because one of the individuals who got voted out was basically an individual called Flora Sheldon, or Shedden, whatever you pronounce that. Basically, and she said that she never stood a chance. She was far too middle class and was booted off this week after her chocolate carousel was deemed substandard. And then she also went on to basically say that maybe if she'd made a chocolate Taj Mahal or something like that, something along those lines, playing on racial stereotypes, she would have gone through.
Well, I mean, that's pretty silly.
She's trying to be all, you know, I think she's trying to be controversial with what she's saying.
Well, I'm sure, you know, a lot of what's written in not just the Mail but most of the tabloid newspapers is written with an air of cynicism and sensationalism and, you know, exaggerated viewpoints because it's going to sell papers.
But she's sort of making a stand against PC culture by being very on PC or non-PC.
Well, I mean,
I suppose that's the whole point.
Way to do it, isn't it? If you're looking to buck against the PC culture, then you have to be slightly un-PC.
Yeah, but no, I've seen a couple of episodes because my housemates like to watch Great British Bake Off, and Nadia was pretty good, you know.
I never watched it myself. I don't know who that is.
But yeah, that Amanda Platel should just fuck off with her outlandish comments. I think that's enough airtime for Great British Bake Off.
Well.
And Amanda Platel of the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
She should. Yeah. But anyway, we should probably go into something more serious and more meaningful.
Well, yeah. I'm sure all three of the people who listen to this.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Cheers.
Have probably heard, you know, shooting in America again, another school shooting
in Umpqua
Community College in Oregon. In a city or town, Roseburg.
I'm not good with American things.
Fair enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9 people dead plus the gunman.
Yeah.
Won't mention who he is.
We don't want to sensationalize his.
And well, I mean, it's already out there as well. But yeah, 9 dead.
Yeah. 18 to 67. Like, you got quite a range of
ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just students. There was some staff
and teachers. And,
parents, I believe. Another 9 injured.
Yeah.
Including a Mr. Chris Mintz.
Yeah, he's a hero.
He is a hero. Tried to stop the gunman.
Yeah.
Received 7 shots for it.
Yeah.
Currently in hospital. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, they have quite a few of them.
From my very brief investigation into you know, the events that occurred, one thing that I get frustrated about is that how people are very quick to say these individuals that do these you know, these tragic trying to figure out words. Mass murders.
Massacres.
Yeah. The first thing that people are trying to do is find an excuse for the activities that they've done by saying that they've got a mental problem. And I don't think that is fair. Like, that person took an active, you know, and he actively went in there to kill these individuals. Like, some of the stuff he said, like, he asks people if they're Christians.
No,
like, he targeted them.
Say that he didn't do those of his own volition.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was fueled in any part by mental illness.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't, recognising that isn't necessarily making an excuse. I mean, looking for, you know, finding when a violent act occurs.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's the sensible thing to do to look for an explanation, and not necessarily just, you know, say that, oh, this is an excuse.
Yeah.
Or this is, you know, even pass a moral judgment, like this was justified, this wasn't justified. But just try to understand the actual root of the problem.
Yeah.
It's useful to do that.
Fair. But some of the stuff that he said, like, so basically he went into the class.
Mm-hmm.
He was a English and theatre class student.
Yeah, he was a writing student, wasn't he?
So the first, set of individuals that he decided to shoot were the people that were in his class. He went up to the teacher and basically said I've been waiting to do this for years, and then shot him at point blank range, which I think is, a bit out of order. It's probably a little more than a little out of order. But then he also went up to other individuals and basically said to them, like, what religion are you? And then they said Christian, and then he was just like, good, because you're going to see like God soon, like, or heaven.
Jesus.
I think, like, there needs to be like deeper, processes into people obtaining these weapons, especially if you're going to say that like individuals have mental illnesses or whatever. You need to test them to see whether they're likely to go and fuck someone's shit up.
Well, I do believe I don't know if it's a federal law, but most states you won't be able to sort of, if you've been ever committed or declared by a court to have sort of a mental issue, then I don't think you can get a gun then. But not all guns are obtained with background checks. Like I understand in many states gun fairs won't have background checks.
Okay.
So you think sort of gun control is the way forward?
I do. Well, Barack Obama's like done a recent interview.
Well, it was a speech, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a speech concerning this, and basically he's sort of frustrated. Like, I think since I read in like 2013, he basically proposed a plan to.
Sandy Hook was in 2012, and he'd come out and said a load of stuff about cracking down on guns before, but.
So basically, he's been insistent about it, but that's the thing. He's like, that proposal that he had just got rejected. Like, it's obviously in their constitution that people should have the right to bear arms, but makes
it very, very difficult to put in any sort of control.
Yeah.
Because I mean, constitutionally, it is there. It is very vague.
Yeah, but shouldn't the constitution? Isn't there something in the Constitution that allows the Constitution to be changed?
Well, yeah, because it's the Second Amendment, so it's something that was amended, that was added on.
Okay, so then
to the Constitution.
What he's hinted at is that
doing that takes, I believe, 2/3 of the House of. I can't remember if it's Congress or the Senate.
But what he said in his
Congress, that's both the houses, isn't it? Maybe.
He basically said that, that individuals are obviously upset about this, and that as, voters, they should be voting in a way that is against sort of, the readily available use of, firearms or whatever. And then, like, basically the representatives within the government obviously have to represent your views
on paper.
So basically, the change that has to come from the grassroots.
And that's why it's not going to get the 2/3 majority. You would need to sort of really
stop it.
Weight on a federal level to gun control.
I know. I just think. I think they've created. Well, I suppose that's the founding principles of, what they want to have in their country.
I mean, you have to remember that America itself, the USA, was born out of a revolution, so they basically acquired statehood and sovereignty through violence. They expanded across the continent. Often violence was involved and force.
So it's sort of a learned behaviour.
Genocide of the sort of native population. And then, massive bloody civil war at some point.
But surely you'd learn from this that violence isn't the answer. Well, I suppose it was.
And I mean, it's not. I mean, because other countries have violent histories as well. But we don't have the same number of gun deaths. Anywhere near.
Well, something that I found quite alarming after, like, hearing some of the individuals that managed to escape. And their basic opinions after the encounter was sort of the fact that, you know, because of this issue, that they're going to keep, you know, carrying guns. They're going to actually bring their guns to school with them as a form of protection. Like, there's a lot of advocates saying that, you know, they need to increase gun presence. But then, like, another thing that Barack Obama's
argument doesn't necessarily fly, because in this instance, because I read earlier in The Guardian, that the state of Oregon allows universities, I don't think there is a concealed carry ban necessarily enforced in all Oregon universities, and at UCC there was no enforced ban. So there was probably kids with concealed carry licenses. I believe that's what they refer to. You don't have that issue here. And, you know, presumably possibly a few with guns. But
they didn't do anything.
Well, I mean, firstly, just because you have a gun doesn't mean you're going to know how to deal in that particular situation. You don't necessarily know how you're going to react. Two, if you're running around with your gun drawn and the authorities turn up and you're there with your gun walking around, you've got the worry of getting one in the head.
That's fair.
Particularly in America, where the police are quite, you know, happy-go-lucky with the...
Trigger happy. Especially if you're of a certain shade. Way sending. Sorry.
Well, I think anyone running around with a gun is likely to
draw the attention. Yeah, fair. What also, like, linking to that point of the whole increase in gun presence, is that Barack Obama has basically came out and said, like, with roughly, you know, a gun per man, per woman, per child in this country, how can you justify saying that we need even more guns?
Well, I mean, if there's a number of guns equal to the number of people,
it makes no sense to have more.
Then I mean, that's enough for everyone to have a gun.
And I only heard the reason why they've got that in the Constitution, which is probably completely wrong, is that if the government decides to, you know, they actually become
tyrannical. No, that's what it's in there for. Because they overturned the government prevailing. Because they thought it was tyrannical. They didn't see why they should have to pay the, you know, the British monarchy, I believe.
That's cray.
They did us over. So, you know, that's what it's in there for. That is the prime reason. It's there so people can, to sort of maintain the integrity of the state, to keep the state in check. I mean, I appreciate that, to be honest. Like, I sort of, odd for maybe someone in this country, but I sort of lean towards gun rights slightly. Sort of, I think people should be...
I don't think in this country it should ever be allowed. Especially with, you know, like, culture, you know, there's a lot of individuals, say for example, who live in London. Or like with the hood rats in general. Who sort of emulate that whole ghetto existence, like, you know, like what is portrayed, you know, with the gangs in America and stuff. If we're allowed guns,
well, I would say that
people
they already
pop
carry knives, and knives are quite
dangerous because they're sharp
hands. But also you're sort of playing into this idea that sort of Britain's so much more dangerous now than it was back in the good old days, when the sort of stats show that violent crimes and property crimes have been sort of, in general, going down.
Fair. That's a good point. I'm just a bit worried.
That's partly because we don't have guns, maybe not.
That's what I'm worried that, you know, that will happen.
But no, I mean, my main reason for it is for the reason it exists in the Constitution, is what, you know, I don't really like the idea of a government having the monopoly of violence, as it were. And sort of being in a position where...
But silly, because, like, you having a gun doesn't mean you're going to be able to overthrow the government. Like, they've got, like, bombs and shit.
Yeah, you say that, but look out in Iraq and Syria where ISIS is. You know, the people we've been fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq for this sort of decade or so that we were in both those countries, they didn't all have the latest weaponry that we had and the bombs and shit, but they still have managed to make the countries fucking ungovernable.
Fair.
They've, you know...
Okay, I can see your point. But to me, I just, you know, I don't see how we could have guerrilla warfare to the extent that they do in Afghanistan. Does that make sense? Because that's how they're winning. That's how, how they were winning.
So many. I mean, there's so many more guns out that part of the world than there is in this country.
Fair. Okay, good point.
I mean, we really have virtually no gun crime in this country. So very few people die by gun.
Yeah. Wow.
Shot.
Could you ever see that happening over here? Do you reckon that they'd?
It's very, very unlikely. I mean, because here it's not even sort of. Over there, it's a very sort of, I think, left-right issue, and sort of it's very divisive. Whereas over here, all the all three of the mainstream guys, there is no support for it. There is no sort of gun lobby trying to sort of get guns back in the country, because no one's going to vote for that. People don't want that. It's like America. No public healthcare like over here. And that's sort of, again, a slightly divisive left-right issue. Over here, almost universally, people, they'd be horrified to get rid of the NHS.
Yeah, that would screw a lot of people over.
Well, yeah.
Fair.
The majority of people in this country don't have insurance, do they?
No. It's a good point.
They don't need it.
Fair.
An NHS.
Another thing that my man Barack Obama said was basically that you've got all these individuals that have got their guns. They use it for sport. They use it for actual reasons why I suppose you'd need a gun that doesn't involve killing another person
or doing certain self-defense. I mean, that's a legitimate reason to.
He's basically saying that he should, these individuals should think more clearly whether the National Rifle Association, because they come out with some outlandish stuff as well, basically whether they're actually representing what these individuals actually want to say themselves.
You mean the actual grassroots of these organisations?
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously, after all of these instances, they're always coming out with basically talking about the fact that they need more guns. There's no need for gun control. They're very clear that they think that's the wrong route to go. But I agree with what Barack Obama's there saying, because fair enough, you've got this organisation that are coming out against it, but you've got other individuals that have are supposedly part of it, but think there needs to be some level of control to stop these instances from happening. They're actually using guns for the purpose that they're intended.
I'm sure many of the sort of grassroots people would not mind sort of more slightly sort of intensive background checks, maybe just to weed out people who have long histories of mental illness or sort of violent criminal behaviour. Studied
previous shootings and was frustrated by the fact that these individuals that were have done this previously didn't confront the police and shoot them at them as well. Didn't make a stand against the police.
He didn't either, did he?
No, he shot himself.
Yeah, when the first few police showed up.
Just a bit cowardly, in my opinion.
Well,
if you've gone in there to shoot a load of people, you said you're not making a stand against the police. People haven't done that.
I mean,
you need to make a stand against the police.
Shit thing to turn up at school with a gun and
in the first place
shoot a load of people. Really, I mean, just unannounced start shooting people is bullshit.
It's crazy. The point I wanted to make is that the NRA have actually came out and said basically this guy called Wayne LaPierre, who's the organization's executive vice president, declared after the shooting in Newton, Connecticut.
Okay.
Basically that the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. To me, that's
potentially. I mean, at the end of the day, the police would have shown up and eventually just shot him.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of it, if you've got good versus bad, I suppose if you go into a country where someone's oppressing someone and you're going in, then that's a good thing. But in terms of a school, I don't think other children with guns.
Well, they were. It was a college, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were all legally adult. Well, some of them couldn't drink, because you can own a gun before you're allowed to drink an alcoholic beverage in America, which, you know, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's their culture, I guess.
Yeah.
The problem I think the USA has isn't necessarily just that the guns are there, because there are other countries with legal guns, and yes, they have far fewer than the Americans, but they still don't have nearly as many sort of incidents like this. Like, I believe there's been like 45 sort of school gun incidents this year, I believe I read somewhere. It's at Huffington Post.
Fucking hell.
I don't know, you know, I don't know what method they used to sort of decide what was, you know, qualified, if someone turning up with a gun or a hoax gun, whatever. But that's, you know, that's a very high number of gun-related incidences in schools that you don't see in other countries, even with guns. Like just north of the border, Canada, they have much, you know, they have laxer gun control than certainly our country here in the UK. But, you know, it's not nearly as often that you hear about some Canadian going batshit and
shooting a load of people. That's the thing, like, I think, building on a comment that Barack Obama came out with, because he was saying basically how, you know, you said similar things to you, what you just said there, and then, like, basically that Americans have just become numb to it. And does that not reflect, like, they're talking about this mental disability, or, you know, these individuals being crazy? Does that not reflect a much deeper problem? That fair enough, you've got this whole guns as a way of overthrowing the government if they become tyrannical or whatever, but does that not reflect a mental disability in the fact that even in, you know, the presence of waves of information, that having these guns so readily available is leading to your children being shot in schools? In your mind, you must think, hang on a minute, if we restricted the use of these guns and had like some you know, better ways of controlling them, our children wouldn't get killed at schools. In my mind, that's very obvious and very clear that that's what needs to be done. Like,
well, the problem, you know, it's very complicated again because of the Constitution, because of the gun culture, which, like I say, is really strange. Like, it's just too strong. You know, like I said, I actually lean towards some gun rights at least, but their culture is... Many Americans seem like they think it's either the most important or the only right they really care about. Like, they're not too fussed necessarily about free speech if it's, you know, someone they don't like saying something. Or they're not so keen on that sort of amendment which gives citizenship to people who were born on their soil. Or maybe they don't really think that the church and the state should be separated as much as the Constitution sort of demands. But they care about guns and having guns and making sure there's no restrictions. And fair enough, I see, you know, like I said, why the Constitution's there. But don't love them, you know, don't... It's not, you know, that right is there so you can protect your other rights. It's not the be-all and end-all of the Constitution. It's not, you know, I'm sure when the country was founded, the founding fathers weren't thinking, first thing we need to get, you know, make sure we have a country with everyone has a gun, loads of guns. And, you know, some restrictions probably good. People with, you know, violent criminal backgrounds, people with, you know, certainly ongoing mental health issues that, you know, make them a risk to other people or themselves.
But how do you screen this? Is a thing that I find interesting. Like, we're aware that these individuals apparently have mental issues that, you know, are predisposing them to go into schools and shooting people. But how would you spot them?
Well, I mean, he had a record of mental illness.
That's the thing, like, there's a load of people as well who said, like, there was nothing, like, there's a lot of stuff that didn't make me sit right around this person, you know, like, he was a bit odd.
Well, no, because he'd been to a psychiatrist. And of course he got put on, you know, pills. I believe for depression. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with using sort of medication and treating mental health illness, but, you know, it's not necessarily something that you should just rely on. you know, treating it's probably a lot more expensive than sort of many people. I don't know. I
realize.
You know, costs quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process of helping people either find and eliminate the roots of these issues.
Yeah.
Or sort of teach them to cope with certain behaviours and impulses and ideas. And of course, medication does help in many cases.
Yeah.
But it needs to be sort of work alongside other things.
So would one way of doing it just anyone who had, you did say that when people with mental illnesses shouldn't be allowed to have them, right?
I believe, I'm not sure if it's a federal thing, but at least I think most states, they'll do a background check, and someone who's sort of had some sort of court order put against them saying they're sort of like criminally insane, if they've been institutionalized, I believe.
Yeah.
There'd be restrictions.
Okay.
But then not every state necessarily has universal background checks all the time everywhere.
Okay, fair. I don't know. I just
it is more complicated because it varies. Attitudes and sort of laws vary state to state.
Okay.
Already.
Fucking ridiculous. I think. Well, basically, they're a country that are never going to learn from their mistakes, and due to that, they're just doomed.
Well, I don't know. I think they need to tone down the gun culture.
Yeah. But that's never going to happen. Like, you watch so many different interviews after, and they're just like, well, you know, we're going to have to get more guns, and, you know, just to combat this problem.
There are people who, I mean, really, really don't want any control, and they're, you know, pretty vocal about it.
Yeah. Those individuals should never be in a position of power.
Well, it makes you wonder sort of how much the sort of average American does feel like the select few pro-gun people. Like even the pro-gun Americans, you know, whether or not, you know, I think a lot of it is sort of, it's such a difficult issue is because over there you've basically got two camps. You've got, you know, Democrats, Republicans, left, right. Things are so divided. Yeah. And neither side will ever want to concede a point or, you know, admit that the other party has, you know,
has a valid point
going.
Yeah.
And, you know, based on just sort of comments I've read on news sites and stuff, sort of at least a portion of the American public is exactly the same. Yeah. Where you can, you know, they are so firmly in one camp, sort of, you don't even need to engage with the other side's arguments because they're either sort of libtards or, you know, kooky lefties, whatever, or they're sort of hawkish conservatives, crypto fascists or whatever. Yeah. They just dismiss each other with labels, or they'll just totally divert and, you know, start throwing shit to each other basically.
It's pathetic.
But no, things are so divisive over there. So many people, just because they happen to be, and like we said, gun politics over there is a very left-right thing. Yeah. Unlike here, where it's pretty much, there is only really one point of view.
A clear cut, you shouldn't have them.
Or very few people should have them. Yeah. Only certain types. And
well, I agree for that. Like, how many like gun shootings have we had here?
We have very few every year, admittedly.
Exactly.
But then there are a lot of countries, admittedly not developed nations, that have, you know, gun laws as well. Look at Mexico. I don't believe the citizens can have guns there. There's a lot of gun crime. Fair. Admittedly, there's another cause for that. You know,
poverty,
drug cartels.
Fair.
But I don't think that guns are necessarily the issue. I think, you know, gun culture isn't helpful. Yeah. There's just the sheer love people have for their guns. I think a lot of it's a health issue, sort of a mental health issue. Okay. Like, healthcare's so expensive over there. Like, a lot of Americans seem worried that it will cost so much if you had a public health service, a socialist health service. Yeah. But spending per capita in America is much, much higher than most European countries in terms of healthcare. And most European countries have at least some form of, you know, public health service.
Fair.
And then, you know, like you said, healthcare is expensive, psychiatry, you know, counselling, these can all be expensive. A lot of people just don't have the access.
Yeah.
Or the local authorities don't have the infrastructure to identify and deal with these people.
Yeah.
Because, again, he was identified. Many of these people who do these things, you know,
on the government
they're known to not be well in their head.
But then that goes down to the whole principle there again, because like obviously you've got that the divisive thing about the healthcare. No one, you know, you've got one camp that doesn't want, you know, that much involvement, and the other side that are very pro, like, you know, helping people.
Well, it's interesting because the hero Chris Mintz, who got shot the 7 times, he survived. His family started I believe it's a GoFundMe account. Get donations to be able to afford his healthcare, and it's just outrageous to me. Is, you know, someone from the UK, the NHS, this idea that, you know, especially someone who's, you know, I believe a US Army veteran, is he not? Who, you know, he got shot trying to stop a mass shooter, and he's having to sort of get other people
and beg
to help. Well, no, that's, I guess, sort of begging. I mean, that sounds slightly pejorative. I mean, fair play to them, because healthcare is, like you said, so incredibly expensive over there. They must pay so much more in insurance, or when they have to go to the hospital. Certainly than we pay in tax.
It's fucking ridiculous.
For our healthcare.
I don't get it. I suppose I would never get it, because I don't live there.
Again, I think a lot of it comes down to how divisive politics is. You're one camp or the other, and you're all in or all out.
Makes no sense in terms of the greater good, in terms of actually, you know, benefiting your country and, you know, becoming an, you know, better organisation of people, I guess. You know.
Well,
we should all. Fair enough. You've got your own like views and whatnot. Like the Tories, you know, think one way. You've got like Labour thinking another way. But there are like
certain issues.
Overlaps where, you know, you've got that whole, yeah, this is stupid. Americans need to do that.
Well, again, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And it is.
How many shootings does it has to occur for them to realise?
Well, more funding into healthcare would probably help.
Fair.
And, you know, yeah, some background checks might be advisable. Not letting people with serious psychological problems or history of violence own a gun, probably a good idea.
That's the thing, like you're
it's not really objectionable. I don't see why anyone would disagree with that. And I'm sure many on the grassroots level don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's not being implemented.
Surely that there's just some disconnect between what the grassroots want and what the government officials are actually doing, which isn't the best. You know, it's not what you want in terms of a voter. You know, the government not to represent your views.
Well, yeah.
You know, I think they should overthrow the government. Use those guns.
What? Use the guns to take over the government and then take their own guns off themselves? Yeah. And do what with them?
Just melt them.
Give them away.
Just give them to a country that needs them. On that note,
yeah, that's probably a fairly too light-hearted way to end that.
Yeah.
You know,
had to try.
News, but
we did it again with the whole, you know, the title of our show thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Oh, you bastards. We almost got through it without your phone going off.
I apologise.
Anyway, we've been shooting the shit. Oh.
I did warn you. He's been Ollie.
And he's been Rich. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Peace.